Hi everybody, my name is Clarissa Gainey. I am owner and founder of Bright Creative, and I'm also an assistant professor at Augusta University. I want to thank everybody for this opportunity to be here at the Smart City Summit to talk about communication. And I want to start my presentation by painting a picture. When people think about future cities, we usually think about flying cars and skyscrapers and this beautiful greenery, maybe robots delivering our groceries. But let me take you someplace different. Let's step into the streets of a city, any city, for a second, maybe even your own. So look around, and in your mind, what do you see? You might see billboards stacked on top of each other, screens flashing with ads, road signs, storefront graphics, posters, banners, and then you look down. Our phones are lighting up with notifications, messages, and alerts, and it feels endless, doesn't it? So this is the real challenge of future cities. Not just building more, but helping people make sense of more. And psychologists have this phrase for it. It is called cognitive overload. And it means that the brain is trying to process more information than it can comfortably handle. And in a city environment, it happens every single day. Research backs this up. Studies have shown that when environments are visually cluttered, people actually take longer to find the information they need, and they make more mistakes doing it. And the overload doesn't just stay on the street, it follows us onto our phones. Now think about this. Scientists have found that even if you don't touch your phone, just have it in sight is enough to drain your attention and working memory. You are literally less capable of concentrating just because your phone is sitting there. And the constant pings, they don't just distract us, they raise our anxiety levels, and they chip away our focus, and they leave us mentally tired. Researchers called it alert fatigue. One recent study found that a huge number of people now switch off news alerts completely, not because they don't care, but because they're drowning in them. So when we put that together, the street fills with clutter and pockets buzzing with distractions, we start to understand why people feel exhausted, anxious, and sometimes disoriented in modern cities. Now, why should a graphic designer care about all of this? Right? You might be asking that. Because the way a city communicates visually isn't just decoration, it's infrastructure. If the messages are too many, too messy, too confusing, people can't navigate that environment. And when people can navigate, cities just don't work. So the question becomes, how do we simplify without losing meaning? And that's the core of what I want to talk to you about. This isn't a brand new question. In the 1920s, Otto and Marie Neurath worked on something called isotype. It is a system of pictograms, just little icons that could explain big ideas without words. And that tradition carried on. If you've ever followed a simple airport sign for baggage claim or restroom, you've benefited from their work. These pictograms crossed language barriers long before global travel became normal. But our lives have become more complex since then. Pictograms alone often aren't enough to carry the load of modern multilingual text-saturated cities. And this is where my research comes in. I've been exploring something I call NanoCom, short for Nano Communications. NanoCom is deeply inspired by those pictograms, but it pushes them further. It adds a layer of typography shorthand, very short nano words or ligatures that maybe sit next to the icon and make the meaning sharper. So instead of a generic train icon, you might see the train icon with a arrow pointing up, the number 2 next to it, meaning the next train is in 2 minutes. Or a shelter icon with an arrow pointing to the right and saying 200 meters, meaning it's 200 meters ahead. It's simple, it's compact, and it's universal enough that you don't need to know the local language to get it. But why does it matter? Because as more and more people immigrate, visit, and move through cities where they don't speak the dominant language, we need systems that welcome them in, not shut them out. NanoCom is not meant to replace pictograms or text. It's just meant to enhance them, to make them faster, clearer, and less overwhelming. Now, let's connect this back to the research. We know clutter we know that clutter slows us down. We know that many messages makes us anxious. We know phones already fragment our focus. So if future cities want to function, they need to design their communication with simplicity and efficiency at the core. Now, that doesn't mean fewer messages. It means better ones, cleaner signage, smarter compressions, messages that can be grasped in less than a second. Now imagine arriving in a new country for the first time. You're nervous, you're tired, maybe not too confident in the language. You step into a train station, and instead of facing a wall of confusing text, you see the consistent system of icons, each with a tiny nano word giving you exactly what you need. Suddenly, you feel calmer, you know where to go, and the city feels more welcoming. This is the kind of human-centered future city we should be designing. Now, I should be honest, this isn't a magic fix at all. On the plus side, simplified communication saves time, lowers stress, and makes cities more inclusive for immigrants, for tourists, and residents alike. It doesn't even require a massive infrastructure. Most of its graphics could be integrated into existing systems. But there are risks too. If the shorthand is too cryptic, people don't understand it. If it's not tested properly, it could fail in emergencies when clarity matters most. And to work across entire cities, there has to be consistency. Someone has to maintain the system. The point is, this is not speculation for the sake of speculation. This is a practical design direction that can be piloted, tested, and scaled, just as pictograms once was. So let me close with this. Architects and engineers will keep building the structures of future cities, but the legibility of those cities, the ability to move, to understand, to feel safe, depends on the smallest unit, the message. If we design those messages with care, with simplicity, and with inclusivity, we give people relief from overload. We give them the confidence in a world of complexity. And we remind ourselves that design is not just about beauty, it is about making life in the future cities not just possible, but humane. I appreciate your time. I hope you have enjoyed this presentation, and I hope to see you all next time. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Goodbye.